Tonight, a troubling new development in the war next door. Mexico has vowed to crush the murderous drug cartels, and President Obama has pledged hundreds of millions of dollars to help. But is it enough to stop the violence and keep it from spreading across the border? As Michael Ware found out, the suspects aren't just foot soldiers and smugglers. They're also public servants and mayors. Here's Michael's report and analysis.
Watch closely to what you're about to see. It's incredible. Grainy security camera video at a prison in Mexico. Heavily armed and obviously well-trained federal police appear to be sweeping in to transfer maximum security prisoners. But this is not what it looks like. For these men are not police. Fake police officers arrived in this convoy. Their uniforms legitimate, their cars marked as cop cars. And within 2 minutes and 55 seconds, they'd scooped up 53 inmates, stolen 23 guns, and driven back out the gate and away. Of the 53 prisoners freed, at least 12 were cartel members. And why many of the 53 were in that cell block that night is a mystery, as they were meant to have been held elsewhere. Later, 44 prison guards were questioned. When we patrolled neighbourhoods in Juarez with Mexican police, we knew corruption is a deeply entrenched way of life here. The corruption is so bad, honest officials don't know who to trust. After all, just this week, federal police arrested 10 mayors of Mexican cities and 17 other officials. They charged them with corruption, and it's the latest escalation in the 2.5-year war. A war that has seen President Felipe Calderón put 45,000 troops into battle against the cartels. And it's a war that so far has taken the lives of 7,499 people. Most of the dead were cartel foot soldiers, but many were innocent Mexican civilians caught in the crossfire. And a few Americans have been killed as well. When we visited the war's front lines in Juarez, right next to the Texas city of El Paso, we found the story of this mother of two, Maricela Molinar, a US resident, murdered, gunned down within yards of the El Paso border crossing as cartel assassins targeted her boss, who was sitting beside her. Now another American is dead, this time a 15-year-old high school student. She died while sitting with her family at a baptism party in Juarez. She was cut down by a stray round from a firefight that swept past the house. All this bloodshed, and for what? A war US and Mexican law enforcement officers agree cannot be won. At least not the way it's being fought now. A war fueled by America's appetite for drugs, and one commonly waged by cartel members with US weapons in their hands, smuggled south across the border.
Michael, we're with us now. Michael, horrific and depressing reporting there. So you were there. If nobody trusts anybody, what do the officials you talk to say needs to happen to win?
Well, unfortunately, John, there's no ready-made answer. I mean, even if you probe these officials, and they're in such a predicament, John. I mean, I was in the police headquarters of Juarez. The police headquarters itself, the command centre. And there were officers there who couldn't talk to me in front of the other officers, or factions who couldn't talk in front of others. And indeed, when I was talking to someone from the Mexican president's office in Juarez, I was told an anecdote where a crackdown on a stolen car ring resulted in a firefight between Mexican police and Mexican army over who would get to steal the cars. So that's the nature of the problem we're talking about, just on the corruption front, let alone the organisation, sophistication of the cartels, the support within the people, the improbability of the terrain. It all adds up to the fact that there's no quick fix here. The two most readily obvious extremes are the first, you cut down the demand, legalise these drugs in America, and that immediately evaporates the need for organised crime to provide them. Either that, or we see 45,000 Mexican army troops in the field. You can militarise the American border, send the 101st Army Division into Juarez, but no one wants to see that either. There's no quick fix, mate.
No quick fix, and some depressing reporting there, Michael. Michael Ware, thanks so much.
Thanks, mate.
Next, when non-lethal force turns deadly. A young suspect dies after being tasered. Could the tragedy have been prevented? The fallout over this fatal encounter with police ahead.